Welcome to the Docket. I'm your host, Corey Snow. This is episode 31. In December 2024, the Committee on Ethics of the U.S. House of Representatives released a report on its investigation of former Congressman Matt Gaetz, looking into allegations of sexual misconduct, drug use, statutory rape, and violations of House rules, as well as other allegations. This is an audio presentation of that committee report. Because the full duration of the recording is around 90 minutes, it has been broken up into 4 episodes, each one being a recording of one major section of the report. All episodes were published together. This episode is a recording of Section 3, Relevant Laws, Rules, and Other Applicable Standards of Conduct. 3. Relevant Laws, Rules, and Other Applicable Standards of Conduct. A. Federal Laws. Section 1591 of Title 18 United States Code prohibits trafficking, including recruiting, enticing, or transporting a minor for commercial sex, while knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that the victim is a minor. Section 1591 also prohibits trafficking adults for commercial sex using force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion. The Mann Act, 18 U.S.C. Section 2421 et sequa, prohibits the knowing transportation of individuals through interstate or foreign commerce to engage in prostitution or other illegal sexual activity. Section 2423 specifically prohibits the transportation of minors with the intent to engage in commercial sex or illegal sexual activity. However, if a defendant establishes that he reasonably believed that the individual with whom he engaged in commercial sex was at least 18 years old, the defendant may avoid criminal liability. Sections 2421 and 2422 are not limited to transportation of minors, but the Criminal Division of DOJ has stated that it does not prosecute these statutes in every case in which they are violated, but only where there is evidence of a victim of severe forms of trafficking in persons. Federal law also prohibits obstruction of Congress. Specifically, under 18 U.S.C. Section 1505, it is a crime, whether corruptly or through threats, to influence, obstruct, or impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry of a House committee, or to endeavor to do so. Federal law also prohibits tampering with witnesses in a congressional proceeding. Pursuant to 18 U.S.C. Section 1512b, it is a crime to knowingly intimidate, threaten, or corruptly persuade, or attempt to do so, or to engage in misleading conduct toward an individual with the intent to influence, delay, or prevent the testimony of any person in an official proceeding, or to cause someone to withhold or alter evidence. The witness tampering statute also prohibits the lesser offense of intentionally harassing a witness in an attempt to dissuade the witness from testifying. False statements to Congress in connection with an investigation are also prohibited pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 1001. B. Florida state laws. Under Florida's statutory rape law, it is a felony for a person 24 years of age or older to engage in sexual activity with a 16 or 17-year-old. A person charged with this offense may not claim ignorance or misrepresentation of the minor's age as a defense. It is also a criminal offense under Florida state law to solicit, induce, entice, or procure another to commit prostitution or to purchase the services of any person engaged in prostitution, or to aid, abet, or participate in such actions. Florida defines prostitution as the giving or receiving of the body for sexual activity for hire, but excludes sexual activity between spouses. In Florida, unauthorized possession of controlled substances is also a criminal offense. Schedule 1 and 2 controlled substances are deemed by Florida law as having a high potential for abuse. Cocaine and MDMA, commonly referred to as ecstasy or Molly, are controlled substances under Florida law. C. House rules and other standards of conduct. Pursuant to 5 U.S.C. Section 7353 and House Rule 25, Clause 5, the gift rule, members of Congress are subject to broad limitations on the solicitation and acceptance of gifts. Under the gift rule, members may not knowingly accept any gift except as provided in the rule. As the Ethics Manual explains, gifts include gratuities, favors, discounts, entertainment, hospitality, loans, forbearances, services, training, travel expenses, in-kind contributions, advanced payments, and reimbursements after the fact. The general provision of the gift rule allows a member to accept a gift valued less than $50 so long as the source of the gift is not a registered lobbyist, foreign agent, or private entity that retains or employs such individuals. A gift received through a personal friendship, where the fair market value is more than $250, requires formal approval from the committee. With respect to a trip, the value is viewed as a whole and thus includes transportation, lodging, and meal expenses paid for by the gift giver. Certain considerations must be made in determining whether to accept a gift over $250 related to a personal friendship, such as 1. The history of the personal friendship, including any previous occasions of exchanging gifts. 2. Whether the gift giver personally paid for the gift or sought a tax deduction or business reimbursement for the gift. And 3. Whether the gift giver gave similar gifts to other members, officers, or employees of the House. In addition, members are required to report the receipt of certain gifts from non-relatives where the aggregate value exceeds the minimal value. The minimum value in 2024 is $480, excluding any gifts valued under $192. In 2018, it was $390, excluding any gifts valued under $156. There is also an exemption for gifts of personal hospitality for which there is no value limit and no reporting requirement. The personal hospitality exemption, however, is limited. It applies only to stays and meals in someone's personally owned home, and it does not include air travel to get to that location or stays in a property that is rented out to others. House Rule 23, Clause 15 governs the payments for use of a non-commercial aircraft by House members. Members may use personal funds for the use of an aircraft supplied by an individual on the basis of personal friendship. Members may only accept a flight on a non-commercial aircraft without reimbursement under limited circumstances under the gift rule. As a general matter, the personal friendship exception can apply only if the aircraft is owned by the member's personal friend, the use of the aircraft is for personal purposes, and the member receives written approval from the committee where the value is in excess of $250. Section 5341 of Title II United States Code, establishing the member's representational allowance, provides that its purpose is, quote, to support the conduct of the official and representational duties of a member with respect to the district from which the member is elected, end quote. The Ethics Manual notes, however, that assistance to a non-constituent is not entirely prohibited under this statute and explains, quote, in some instances, working for non-constituents on matters that are similar to those facing constituents may enable the member better to serve his or her district, end quote. Nonetheless, members should not devote official resources to casework for individuals who live outside the district, but instead may refer the person to his or her own representative or senator for assistance. The Code of Ethics for Government Service sets forth standards of conduct for all government employees. Paragraph 2 of that code provides that those in government service should, quote, uphold the Constitution, laws, and legal regulations of the United States and of all governments therein and never be a party to their evasion, end quote. Paragraph 5 states that they should, quote, never discriminate unfairly by the dispensing of special favors or privileges to anyone, whether for remuneration or not, end quote. All public servants are charged under the Code with upholding the principles articulated, ever conscious that public office is a public trust. House Rule 23, Clause 1 states, quote, a member of the House shall behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect creditably on the House, end quote. House Rule 23, Clause 2 states that members, quote, shall adhere to the spirit and the letter of the rules of the House, end quote. This concludes this episode of The Docket. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For updates on The Docket, please visit DocketPod.com or find us on Threads as DocketPod. If you found this useful or interesting, please consider subscribing to The Docket and supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/DocketPod. Thank you.